That's dope.
What is up, everybody? This is Scott Melker, also known as the Wolf of All Streets. It is Thursday, February 18th. Today, I'm going to share some Bitcoin and Ethereum charts and also go over some news that's going to show you why I'm so overly bullish on both of these coins. Before we do all of that, please subscribe to my channel. Go ahead and hit that like button. Also, if you want to hear updates from me every single day, then you can join my newsletter. It's $15 a month to get it 5 days a week, or you can join the free side and get it every 2 weeks. In addition, I would like to thank my sponsor, Femex. They're offering up to a $720 deposit bonus if you use the link that is down in the description. Now, of course, you're not going to get that $720 if you only deposit $10. You have to deposit a certain amount to get a certain amount of bonus. Now, let's dig directly into the charts and not waste any more time. First, I think it's always essential that you zoom out, right? You don't need to look at the chart on the 1 hour or the 15 minute or the 5 minute to know what's going on. Bitcoin has been traveling in a macro channel on the monthly chart since mid-2013. As you can see here, it tested the bottom of this channel in March of last year on the big dip below $4,000. What happened then? Well, it bounced and headed up to the EQ of the channel. That's the center line here, also known as the equilibrium. That's the 50% level of that trading range. Now, what you want to see when price interacts with an area like that is for it to flip it from resistance to support. So it headed up above, came back down, retested it, and now had a really nice bounce up off of support. So when you look at a channel like this, although the targets sound crazy to start talking about 100,000, 200,000, 300,000 Bitcoin, what you'll see here is that after flipping this EQ, we should be targeting the top of the channel. If we're targeting the top of the channel right here, that'd be 150,000. If it takes longer, we're talking about 180, 200, and even higher targets. Listen, that's only a 2x from here with Bitcoin at $50,000, right? We've done a 13x from that low in March in just less than 1 year. So it's really not that far-fetched to imagine that we'll just double or triple from here, hitting those much, much, much higher targets. Now we can zoom in a bit and take it down to the daily chart. As you can see, price was trading in this range here. When we hit the highs at about 42,000, we exited strong on the Tesla news and have been doing nothing but going up since. There have been little drops that have been liquidity grabs for people who are trying to buy. But once again here, we have topped around 52,000 and showing no time of slowing. Let's zoom into a lower time frame chart. The 4 hours about as low as I like to go and see what's happening there. As you can see, we had this purple ascending wedge that everyone was talking about and was so scared it was going to drop and be bullish. But if you look at the statistics on an ascending wedge, you'll see that they're very, very, very unreliable patterns and often break to the upside. If you were here in 2017, you remember that it almost became a bullish pattern for Bitcoin because every single time we had an ascending wedge, Bitcoin would break to the upside. That's exactly what we saw here. Bitcoin broke up, came down almost to test it as support. And listen, you could draw it this way, and then you have a support test using this wick right here. But I like to keep my bias here, right? And then price went up, and now we have once again bullish consolidation with dropping volume, which is what you want to see. Now, if you really want to zoom in, we draw a line like this. This is the new resistance. 1, 2, 3 touches and almost a fourth. So what you're looking for on a move like this, if you're looking for another position, is a break, a retest, and a move up. Then Bitcoin goes into price discovery, and we have no idea how high it can possibly go, but I think we are going much higher. Now, let's dig into Ethereum on the Bitcoin pair. First, as I said, always a good idea to zoom out. I love to look at the weekly chart here on Ethereum versus Bitcoin. Now, of course, Ethereum has been largely underperforming Bitcoin, as you can see on this chart, but we have an inverse head and shoulders pattern that started in December. Actually, if you technically all the way back in August of 2018. So over 2 years to complete. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder. You extrapolate the target of a head and shoulders by measuring from the lowest point up to the neckline. And the neckline is the line between the two shoulders. Here on a logarithmic chart, you can see that our target is 0.06547947. That is a huge move from here, almost double from the current price. Now, the inverse head and shoulders doesn't confirm until you see a break of this neckline, which you saw here. What's slightly disconcerting, of course, is that it broke down and closed a weekly candle above, but that's not really that concerning to me. I still think that we're going to be heading up. I'll zoom in and tell you why. As you can see on the daily, we have this range that it found itself trading in. and it broke down, scaring a lot of people yesterday. But currently we have a candle that's closing back in. If that closes here and closes inside the range, you view this as an anomaly and expect the price will move back up to the EQ of the channel, somewhere here near the middle. If that flips to support, then you're heading to the top and we can start talking about those much higher targets. Now zooming into the 4-hour chart, you can see that Ethereum has broken resistance here. You draw a descending resistance from the top of the move, connecting this candle. We have a break, retested support, and price moving away. So we should expect that this will continue up, and the best entry on the Ethereum Bitcoin pair would have been right here. Now let's jump into the Ethereum USD pair. Again, we're going to zoom out, weekly chart, and I have been sharing this literally since June of last year. Right? I'm extremely bullish on Ethereum, more bullish on Ethereum than I am on Bitcoin for a number of reasons that we can get into another time. Here we have a double bottom, right? Now, you cannot call it a double bottom just when the second bottom happens. You need a clean break of the neckline. The neckline is the swing high, the highest point between those two bottoms. That being on this chart, $364.49. Once again, much like an inverse head and shoulders, you measure from one of the bottoms up to the neckline to find a target. You pull that and extrapolate it here. Because this is a logarithmic chart, you do not see these looking exactly the same. This one looks smaller. You can see that it smashed its target of $646.71. That was the first target of that. But you also had this macro breakout, right? This descending blue line breakout retest here for 4 weekly candles and then the move up. That targets the red line, which was the previous all-time high at $1,419.96. Now that we have broken that, it is officially in price discovery here. That means that we have no idea how high this can go, that it's looking for a new time high and continuing up day after day after day, making new highs. Now, technically, if you can find an entry somewhere around this line on a retest, you would definitely want to consider that because it's a huge resistance, the former all-time high, and it was broken. So usually you like to see it retested as support, but you might miss it because on Bitcoin, that 20,000 level was never retested as support, as you saw. So this would be ideally a technically great entry. Now let's talk a little bit about the news of why these things are happening right now, in my view. Bitcoin had a lot of trouble breaking 50,000, but why did that happen? Well, the huge news that GigaChad, Michael Saylor, Bitcoin God, is raising yet another $900 million to buy Bitcoin. A few days ago, it was only going to be $600 million. A day later, he raised it to $900 million with a senior convertible note at 0%. The man is going all in on Bitcoin on a level that people probably can't even comprehend. What's more is he just held a conference with 1,400 companies teaching them expressly how to buy Bitcoin. That's the only reason they were there, is so he could show them how to put Bitcoin on your balance sheet. Just weeks later, he's buying $900 million for it. You can connect the dots, but I'm assuming that we're going to see a lot more companies coming in very soon to buy a whole lot of Bitcoin on their balance sheets. Now, as for Ethereum, you can see that Grayscale has bought $344 million worth of Ethereum in just 2 weeks. Now, this is no big mystery. They've been doing this for months, buying more Ethereum than's even being mined. And they're saying openly now that they're having much more institutional interest in Ethereum than they were before. And even some people are asking for it more than they are asking about Bitcoin. So if institutional adoption is the reason that we've seen Bitcoin skyrocket, imagine if some of that money starts to pour into Ethereum, which is what I believe is happening here. Now, once again, please subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, check out the newsletter, check out Femex, and we'll see you tomorrow.